I had like 1,700 in my bank, if anything. And my dad's like, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, something good's going to come out of this. So, like they always want to promise you something.
Yeah.
But like, no, I have to go get my own because now my little boy Sebastian, when he's born, like, what am I going to always promise him something too? So long story short, I quit. I just quit. And my dad's like, you're fucking crazy for doing that. So in order for him to help me, he got like 6 or 7 properties. He was like, here, get started with this. I was like, okay, cool, but I don't have equipment. Can I borrow your equipment in the weekends? yeah, there's a truck and whatever. So I started that on Saturdays. And my girlfriend was like, you're fucking crazy. How are we going to do this? How are we going to? I'm like, but Dios es grande. Like, it's going to happen.
All right, guys, welcome back to another week. We're here with the IQ Project. My name is Josh. We're here with my co-host, Ricky Tat.
Yo, what's up? What's up?
And we got a special guest. Go ahead and, Ricky, introduce him.
That's right. Special guest today, Jose Gallegos from Vivid Landscape. Right?
What's going on, guys?
What's up, bro? So, guys, today, very, very good podcast today. Today, we're going to be talking about business and how business is done in the landscaping industry. And we're going to find some similarities and some differences, of course, of how the tattoo industry is. So we had a great story with Jose. He's actually a client of mine that I did some work on him about a year ago. And we just had to get him in the podcast because his business has been he's been doing business for 7 years, guys. And in 7 years, he went from like zero, from like starting a business to now in 7 years making $3 million in revenue in his business. So that's something we gotta like find out. What are your secrets, bro? You know what I'm saying? And introduce yourself, man. Introduce what's your company called and your Instagram and everything.
Thank you guys for having me. So my name's Jose Gallegos. I'm with Vivid Landscape Inc., general landscape company, landscape construction company, and maintenance. We typically do anywhere from a residential lawn care to commercial, industrial, and we do anything from full construction, landscape construction, as far as barbecue islands, gazebos, pergolas, artificial grass, retaining walls. I mean, I've built this company to just basically be a one-stop shop for homeowners and business owners.
Damn, so, that's a good intro, bro. You thought about this one.
It was just coming out naturally.
That's good, bro. That's good. And you also have a podcast, right? You also started a podcast with your brother-in-law. Shout out to Anchor Minds over there.
Anchor Mind Projects. Yeah. So we have our podcast called Stay Shining, Stay Grinding.
Mm-hmm. What is that one about?
Similar to entrepreneurship. Very culture-based, or Hispanic culture-based. We want to really highlight how the Latino community can also break through the resistance of not being able to the mindset of like I can't do what they're doing or other people are doing. Like yes we can.
Is it in Spanish or in English?
It's in English actually. So yeah. So we might start Spanglish.
Well, we're gonna be talking a little Spanish today too, guys, because when we're passionate, we're all Mexicanos here, Latinos. When we're passionate, we start talking in Spanish more too as well, right? I don't know how you are, but I do. But we're going to give a little bit of mixture of everything. But we're going to motivate you guys today because the reason why we wanted to bring in Jose is not only am I seeing it on your social media, bro, I'm seeing it in your growth. I'm always impressed, and you push me to even be better within our industry over here, dude, because the landscape industry, bro, I'm gonna assume is fucking hard,
Yeah.
And what you're doing, the consistency that you're doing, and all that. How did it start? Like, tell us a little bit of your story, dude.
Well, I've been my dad's in the landscaping industry.
Okay.
So I grew up working in it. As soon as I was 11, 12 years old, as soon as I could push him more, but I was like, vámonos. Let's go. Yeah, let's go cut some grass and make that cash, So he took me in, as you can imagine, from 12 years old till 18. I had no spring break, no summer breaks, no, que Labor Day, que Memorial Day, nothing. Because my breaks were when I was in school. Because as soon as my dad found out we're on any kind of break, he's like, vámonos. And I used to hate it. Because as a kid, you want to have some fun.
Yeah.
But now I couldn't be any more grateful because the discipline that taught me and he says he knew what he was doing, and now I believe him because that turned me into basically the man that I am today. You know, both family man and businessman. He put his part in what he knew, how he grew up, which was being a workhorse. And then I just, you know, as I learned, open to more resources, I implemented my own style into business and everything.
Is he still alive, your pops?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What does he think about your business now?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. He doesn't really say much, man.
No?
He's very like machista, old school, like hard type of like he doesn't know how to show emotions.
Same with my dad. My dad too. Like saw him yesterday, and we never really talk about like this kind of conversations. You know, our feelings and stuff. He's just like straight up. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious. You know,
he's never told me like felicidades, congrats, like, but I don't resent that. Like I know that I think he's generally happy and he's generally proud, but I just don't think he knows how to show that, you know?
Yeah. What about your mom's side?
Oh, my mom's happier as ever been. Yeah, she's like always, she's my number one supporter on social media, bro. You see there, like, I love your work. I love your work. Yeah, like it says mama, like Mom the user first? Number mama 0 that's
she has a user number?
Yeah, classic, she didn't know how to like actually put her thing, but I know when it's that, and she puts hearts and everything. And you know, when we get together, she's like, "Oh, I saw your work. Like, I'm so proud of you." Like, that's dope. She's really happy.
Have you taken your dad out to a job site so you see the like? Because you guys were mowing just lawns, right?
Yeah, my dad was basically just in the maintenance part. So he had one route with 2 employees, and he still has.
Oh, does he still?
Yeah, he still works and he still has. He actually worked with me for almost a year. So he tried to help me out, and then his driver left, and he's like, "Hey, I got to go back and, you know, because he doesn't have systems and structures, anything." Yeah. So he's like, "My bad. Let's pause it here and go back." But he, you know, I had to hire somebody else, and then I didn't have the spot, and he has his own thing. But yeah, he's seen all my work and everything. He's done job walks. Saturdays is like he only does Monday through Friday, so Saturdays is the day he can help us out. And he comes along. He's like, "Oh, shit, like this is cool. Like you guys building this? Yeah, that's cool." He's like, and then something he'll be like, "You don't get stressed out." I'm like, "Not really. Like the guys know what they're doing." Oh, está bien. Like I don't know if he processes it like, God damn, you know?
Yeah. He's just like, oh. So you worked with him from 12 to 18, right?
It was just hard work.
Did you always want to open up a business, or
I didn't?
No. After that, you're like, I don't know.
I didn't want anything to do with landscaping and lawn care because my whole youth was devoted to that.
So what'd you do after that?
I still had to work because my dad, you know, I told him, "Hey, can I go to college?" He's like, "No, you don't need college. What do you want college for?" And I was like, I don't want to do this. It's hard work. And he's like, "Everything's hard work in life." And I was like, I know, but if I get an education, maybe I can get in an office or something. And so I went to paramedic school. So I tried EMT school. Then I went to paramedic school. I took a private course at UCLA, which was only the weekends and the nights because I still had to work during the day. And then once I did that and I was going through the process of that, I realized like that's not what I wanted. I'm like, no. I'm gonna go back to landscaping. There's a thing where you feel like I wasn't feeling fulfilled. The operations, the blood, the fucking all that, like that wasn't for me.
Was it that, or was it that you just were more comfortable with landscaping?
I don't think it was comfortable for landscape, but I think it was more like me being in an office because my whole life I was outdoors, moving around in the open from stop to stop, and like just being in a room. And the thought of doing that for the next 20 to 30 years, I was like, I can't do this. Yeah. I'm not an office guy. Like I just realized then and there, like I'm not an office guy. I'm not a guy to be in a room or for the rest of my life, you know? So then I was like, you know, I'm going to go to the good old outdoors, you know? And I went back, but with a different mindset because now, 23, 24 years old, I'm expecting my first son. Oh, and what I have for myself, nothing.
Right.
So like I went into it with a different mindset and a mindset of like I need to, you know how to feed my family and support my family. And that was my first instinct. Like I'm starting a business. Like I'm gonna go into.
So you went back to work with your dad's business, or you started your own like?
No, from the college stuff. Then I went back to them. But when I was expecting my first son, then I started my own business.
Oh, you started your own.
Yeah.
And what did that consist of? Starting your business, like?
So my dad.
Just you and your girl, or because you're married, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so my fiance. So at that time we were dating, still boyfriend and girlfriend, and so she was pregnant, so she was at home, and I worked with an uncle at that time because my dad has a few brothers, and it was always like a hand me down, right? Like, hey, can I borrow this guy? He's good, whatever.
So Las Kempe was in your family.
Yeah, it's him and 5 brothers, and they're all have independent businesses that they all each own. And I basically just told my dad, like, I'm gonna go work for myself. You know, like I can't cut it with. You know, I was winning $100 a day, 6 days a week, $2,400 a month. My rent was $1,400. I had like $1,700 in my bank, if anything. And my dad's like, don't do it. Like, something good's gonna come out of this. So, you know, like they always want to promise you something.
Yeah.
But like, no, I have to go get my own, because now my little boy Sebastian, when he's born, like, what am I gonna always promise him something to? So long story short, I quit. I just quit. And my dad's like, you're fucking crazy for doing that. So in order for him to help me, he got like 6 or 7 properties. He was like, here, get started with this. I was like, okay, cool, but I don't have equipment. Can I borrow your equipment in the weekends? yeah, there's a truck and whatever. So I started that on Saturdays. And my girlfriend was like, you're fucking crazy. How are we going to do this? How are we going to? I'm like, but Dios es grande. Like, it's going to happen. And it's just with the faith. I started passing out little cards next door to the neighbors. Hey, please, I'm starting my business. And then they just started calling me, boom, one by one. As I started to grow, because I was by myself. And then right when I started myself, then my brother-in-law Carlos, he started helping me. He was in the lawn care business with me. He's like my first like actual employee.
Yes. He was an employee too?
Yes, he went through through from the bottom to the top, bro. Yeah. Like, you know, so
damn, bro.
He had just, you know, gone through some stuff, and I was like, come help me out, dude. I need a helper right now. He's down there, boom, mowing grass and everything, and I'm weed whacking and getting down, and we started just seeing growth. One more house, and I had an uncle that was giving up in California. He's like, fuck it, I'm done, dude. He had a little route and everything, but it's expensive here, you know, cost of living and all that. So he's like, I'm gonna go to Oklahoma. He left. I bought his route. That was my like opportunity to grow.
How many houses were there?
It was actually a full week. So Monday through Saturday. And it was actually too much because I didn't have the manpower. I committed. Then I tried to figure it out. Yeah. And then I had to give some away to one of my brothers who was actually starting his business too.
How does that work when you buy a route though? Like when you offer certain money, but then you still have to go convince the client that you're going to keep the same quality?
Yeah. So most of the time, most people sell it like if the guy's retiring, they sell it to the worker who's been there and the clients know him. Yeah. So all you do is present him, say, hey, look, this is
so-and-so.
Pedro, he's gonna take over. Okay, but they don't talk about business to the client. They just say he's gonna take over. Excuse me, but if you want to sell it, normally people sell it 3 times what the route produces in revenue. So if a route is
in a month?
Yeah. So if the route in a month.
In a month.
Yeah. So if the route produces $10,000 a month, people technically try to sell it for $30,000.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then so you that person invests, but then the money starts to come back.
I heard that on a podcast recently with Alex Armanzi we were talking about.
Yeah.
He said that typically when somebody sells a business, it's whatever the gross profits are in a month. You usually multiply it by 3, and that's what you sell your business. You know,
like some businesses even go to like 7, but not in like lawn care is known for 3. On a good number, if you want to like sell it quick and cheap, times 2. Just double it up. People pay it fast.
So what stops someone from just saying like, fuck, I'm gonna just start my own instead of just paying those 30,000 per se?
You know, the mindset that we have with our community, bro, is like people are always scared to get scammed. Mm-hmm. So when it says, hey, te vendo una ruta, people always think, if I pay you $20,000, you're probably gonna take it right back from me because that person's been in that route for 10 years or whatever. They're afraid that you're going to like sell it to them, take their money, and then like in 6 months later, you're going to call your clients back and say, hey, come back with me. Like, I regret it. Like, I wasn't thinking right.
That's so true.
And it does happen. But I think people rather start from their own and build their own clientele base, their own structure to have like that personal communication with their clients. So I think there's those similarities because I was offered different routes too. And I was like, I don't know, man. But it was my uncle's route that I actually said, dude, I know my uncle. I've been in that route too. The people knew me. So I was like, all right, cool.
So this was like in year 1? Like in year 1 you bought that route?
Going to year 2.
Year 2. Because again, guys, this is 7 years. Like 7 years is like this in the landscape business. It's in any business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're going on year, 5 or 6 already?
For here?
Yeah, 2018.
4.
2018, no, 5 years.
5 years.
Oh,
yeah. So going on 5 years. And it seems like it went fast, you know what I'm saying? But when we talk about the day in, day out stuff, it doesn't, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So you got that, you bought that route, so you instantly, got a lot of clients. You had to hire people, right?
Yeah. It was honestly more than what I could handle. I bought it because of the opportunity. It was cheap, and I had to give some properties away. I had my brother, my only brother, he was starting his business too. So I was like, hey, I can't handle these 2 full routes here for free, and I'm just going to handle with this. So I got another employee, and then we're just doing that. And then after, I had an uncle that does landscape construction more than anything. And then I kept bugging him about it, like, hey, come work with me. He was like, one day he was like, fuck it. And I couldn't get him to come for a daily rate, an hourly rate, nothing. It was like percentage based.
Percentage per job or per
job, yeah.
Okay.
So, you're young and dumb, and like I did it because I was eager to like bring that knowledge to my company.
Yeah.
But the deal wasn't right, I was losing, he was gaining. Mm-hmm. But now that if you think of it long term, I gained a lot of knowledge from that, which I think if I paid him for education, I think it worked out well, because I think that set me up for where we are today.
Basically paying your dues.
Yeah. Yeah, because per percentage, like I wasn't thinking it through it, and I was like, I was investing everything on the growth. I was buying everything. I was purchasing trucks, equipment. I was hiring people. I was paying people, and all he was getting was like a cut, a nice juicy cut,
Yeah.
And if you look at the numbers with all these, I wasn't making no money.
Right.
But I was growing.
But you were listening.
Yeah.
And you were asking questions.
So, like you said, one thing about education, like that was a big part of your growth as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
So at what point did you start realizing, like, I gotta look out more, or look out for different types of education instead of just like paying your uncle, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, as soon as we go back a little bit. So before I started, like my parents never had licenses, right? So the first thing I wanted to do was go and get my landscaping license.
Okay.
Because I knew that was going to be a game changer and separator. Because
they had a business license, right? To do business, but they didn't have the landscaping license.
They didn't have to do business, nothing. They were just straight
get-go.
Yeah,
all right. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's
you need to have a business to do landscaping in a city.
Yeah.
You know how the landscapers sometimes have stickers, right?
Yeah, you pay City of Arcadia, City of Pasadena, and they allow you to, operate business and do business in their city. It's obviously collecting the tax or whatever. Yeah, so they didn't have anything. Like I remember I was telling them, how come you have a yard sign with your logo, your number? Oh no, porque nos dan un ticket, You're gonna give us a ticket. Mm-hmm. Why? It's like, okay, no tenemos licencia. I was like, how come you don't brand your truck? Oh, we're gonna get a ticket. Like they're always like super low key, And I'm like, now that I grew up and I'm understanding, I'm like, now I see why.
It's mindset.
But I push that shit. Like I push branding. I market my stuff. My trucks are all logoed up. I wear nothing but Vivid. Like my guys have Vivid, because for me now I'm set up right, so I can do it. I'm not afraid to do it. I'll do it. But it really, back to the education. Like when I got my license, I remember people around me were trying to make fun of me, right? Like, because they did it a certain way their whole life. Oh, you don't need a fucking license. What do you need a license for? Like clowning on me, I'm like, And before anything started, I had my hat that said Vivid, and they're like, compañía, like compañía qué? Like you know what gives you work is hard work and recommendations. I'm like, yeah, but I think we're going into a different era now. Like internet's gonna start. Oh, be careful, the internet's gonna scam you. I don't know, man. I always had a vision for that, and if I was made fun of, I stuck my ground, dude. And I was like, this is what I'm gonna build. And if they make fun of me, tell me, hey, this is dumb. Why do you have a uniform? Since when do you guys, it was a complete different mindset. But then I started going, into mentorships. I started listening to podcasts. I started reading books. I never read a book in my life before that, other than in like school. I never thought about thought reading was dumb. I grew up thinking like, oh, reading is for dummies, nerds or whatever. Now I cannot not read. I'm always reading because I'm always like filling up in the ammo in my brain, trying to learn new things. Podcast was big, and I paid, for mastermind, private education more than anything. I don't have any college experience. I didn't go to college, university, anything like that.
So when I first met you and I tattooed you, we had talked about this, right?
Yeah.
And I told you I had some experience. I used to own like 30. I started a route with 30 houses at one time, and I was going to college, and I was like, oh, I might make this into a landscaping business, but I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I knew how to cut the grass. That was no problem, but I didn't know any business structure, no systems, no marketing, no anything, right? And so I lost it, but it was, it was a good little vision. So when I met you and I started tattooing you, remember at the house, you were tattooing, I was tattooing you out of my house.
Yeah.
What stage was that in your business?
You actually tattooed me. That's how I'm like vice versa. Like I'm seeing your growth and your success, and congratulations, guys, because you tattooed me since your first little tiny. I think you lived in a little garage or a little studio in Azusa. I went to that one too.
In back of my house, in my mom's house.
In Azusa.
Really, I tattooed
you. That's where my first tattoo, the Virgin Mary. You fixed it. And then after I went to the Fontana property,
and that's when I went to.
And then you just continued doing my whole sleeve.
Then we went to Rialto.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we've known each other.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Was it?
You never went to the West Covina one?
It was. I can't remember what city it was, but it was like a little garage setup in the back.
Was it
in the back of a property?
Oh, the West Covina one.
Yeah. That was West Covina?
Yeah, it was in the back property. My brother had the jumpers on the side.
Yeah.
Remember, there was like
it was a small little spot. That's
Did it have like a painting of roses and stuff? I gotta look it up.
It's been a while.
That was the West Covina one. But it was separate, right? It was a separate detached garage.
It's a detached.
Oh, what did I do there?
You fixed the Virgin Mary that was all fucked up.
And then you came to my house, right?
Yeah.
And then that's okay.
And then it just flowed onto that. And I've seen the growth from you guys too, from then to your property. You had a nice setup in your garage there, and then you had the other building, and now you have, like it's awesome.
That's where he started.
You were training him in your house. And when you went to me, he was learning how to draw.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
I'm a day wonder, bro.
Day wonder. That's why we're having you here. And that's exactly why we want to hear your story, bro, because I keep seeing your growth. And you had told me, dude, I want to make this big. Yeah. And I don't think you took any Under Frisella masterminds at that time, but you were like, I just want to make this big. And we were just vibing. We were talking at my house. I'm talking about that situation. And you were doing it, bro, And that's why I want you to tell the viewers, man, like the level you're at now took a lot of decisions you had to make, a lot of sacrifices. Huh? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about when you reflected, right, on your business and said, you know what, I need to do a drastic change or else I'm not going to grow, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's the problem you had.
A change within myself.
That was a mindset.
The mindset.
The mindset, right?
Yeah, of course. So,
was it hearing just Andy Frisella, or how did you come across him? Because I feel like that's funny. A pivotal point.
So right when I had decided to start my own business, and when I was winning $2,400 a month, and I was paying $1,400 a month in rent, I figured I need to save more money to invest more money into the business. So I went to live in a smaller trailer at one of my uncle's properties. It's one of those mobile trailers, like a gooseneck you could just pull on a truck.
Oh, okay.
I lived in a little tiny freaking shithole like that.
Really?
I did that for over a year with my girlfriend at the time.
And you have your son at the time?
He was about a year old right there.
Damn, bro.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Like straight sacrifices. Like she wasn't having it, No. But I was like, babe, this is just the beginning of what's coming. And it's hard for them to see the vision. And I don't know, God's big. I just saw the vision from the get-go. And
she believed in you, obviously.
And at that time, I was like, what really triggered me into personal development, there's, I got to give him credit. There's this thing called WFG. It's, I think Ed Milet owns some of that. So it's World Financial Group. So they sell life insurances and all that. Mm-hmm. And I was lured into that right before I was starting my business. They're trying to get me to sell insurance and this and that, which wasn't for me. But what impacted my life was they were introducing me to books and to personal development, and their salespeople, that's how they grew, and they developed them by telling me, listen to Ed Milet, listen to, Tony Robbins at the time, and listen to, read this book and read Think and Grow Rich. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this personal development thing? Why are people so nice here? Why is it's just a different environment?
Yeah. Not what we're used to.
Yeah, no, not what we're used to. Like, why do they want me to get better? We'd go home like confused, like, why do these people are cheering us on so much? Like, who are they? What do they want from us? Oh, they probably just want our business. They probably just want us to sign something. But they were actually trying to train us and develop us to become a better version of us.
Yeah.
And even that one didn't work for me. I told the guys because they wanted to recruit me, and I said, no, I'm gonna stick with my lawn care stuff and grow my landscape business. Okay, no problem. I'm glad that guy actually hit me up a few months ago, and he was like, hey, I've seen your growth, dude. Congratulations. He hit me up on IG.
How does it feel to get something like that?
amazing in a way, but in a way almost like it doesn't feel that real. Like, wait, what? Because he was successful as hell.
Yeah.
Like, and he tried to get me to go and do his thing, and I said no, but I did thank him. Like, thank you for introducing me to this, because now I'm hooked on this.
Yeah,
I'm hooked on this. You know, that's when I started listening to Andy Frisella, because I started looking up on YouTube personal development, and we were talking about Ty Lopez what is it? He was like one of those first ones with the Lamborghini in the garage or whatever.
Garage, yeah.
That's when he started up that, and then from there, I don't know how I ran into Andy Frisella,
and then you just connected with him.
Yeah, that just changed my life forever. I was listening to that, and he was guiding me through life, kind of like an instructional book to life and to business.
You know what's funny is I've seen a lot of Andy Frisella in you when you do your social media. Like, he talks with frustration, right?
Yeah.
He talks with frustration. Correct me if I'm wrong. Andy Frisella talks with frustration of like he just wants people to be better.
Yeah.
Because he was at one time nothing, and then he figured something out, and then he just said that, you know, it's the long game, right? Yeah. And then I've seen you like when you started like talking on the camera, because you didn't do it before.
No.
And I see you in the car. I was like, hell yeah, he's talking in the car and talking about your business, your frustrations. I was like, I'm seeing that you're getting a inspiration from Andy Frisella.
Yeah.
You know, so I've seen a lot of comparisons with you.
Yeah, because sometimes it's hard to say like I feel something that I need to say, but then, you know, with whatever it is, like you know, doubt or whatever, you don't want to post it or you feel, I look dumb, whatever. But I always tell my fiance now, like, you never know who you're gonna impact. Who's going through that one rough day or whatever, where they turn Instagram on or whatever, and they look at it and they're like, this is inspiring for me today, and I'm going to go and, you know, do something more with my life than what I was not going to do because I saw this or I heard this or did that.
And that's happened to me before, because sometimes I want to say some stuff and then but sometimes excuse me. Okay.
You're right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Still allergies. I think sometimes we want to say some stuff, but we're scared of the judgment of how we think more of what people are gonna say about that. But we should reverse it and say, you know what? Fuck what people say. Let's think about that person we're trying to inspire. You know what I'm saying?
How can it benefit?
How can it benefit them? You know, because I see a lot of frustration in how I see like young artists. They don't have the mindset of how to value themselves in the tattoo industry and know their worth, you know? And I see it a lot when how they post content. I'm like, no, man, you know, give yourself more worth, you know?
Yeah. So
then I feel like I want to say it to them, you know? But sometimes I'm like still skeptical of like the judgment, but then I battle through it. And sometimes I say it, sometimes I don't. It all depends, right?
Yeah.
But I see that in you, bro. And you finally started like you were motivating me. You know, I'm like, man, he's doing it. He's starting to talk about the industry. I'm gonna start too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's been both ways, you know.
Right on. Yeah, it is tough to lose the fear of like being criticized or whatever, because, you know, especially you grew up in a Hispanic family, your mom's always like, hey, whatever, you know, self-esteem is low, or for me it was low growing up. Like it's hard for me to be comfortable in the camera and like speak to people, because that's what you're doing. You're alone in a room or in a car, but you're speaking to people. You know, and you have to look at it in the perspective like, how can it benefit and how can it persuade somebody, rather than to thinking, oh, you know, I had a hat that was laying in the back, I didn't want it to show. Like, who cares about what's in the background?
Or
it's the message.
I didn't shave and it's gonna look scruffy.
Yeah, like it's like the message is more of the impact, you know.
You're right, dude. We should be thinking more like that. The message is way more important than the actual appearance of that post or whatever. The
outfit, the haircut, the beard, whatever. That doesn't. At the end of the day, I don't even think people, when they listen to the message and it hits the spot, they don't even care that you haven't shaved in 2 months. You know? They're like, you know, this hit the spot, and I'm gonna go run with this.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like everything. Motivation is tough because we all go through ups and downs. You know, it's we feel really good. We got dopamine, and then we lose it, and then we.
Did this ever happen to you where you're in the car and you're like record and you're like, no, I'm gonna say it a different way. And you stop it
all the time.
And you record it, right?
Yeah.
But then you do it so much, you're just like, fuck it. Because I saw that in you. I'm like, oh, he doesn't care anymore. Yeah, he's just letting it go and go and go.
I'm just boasting sometimes. I'm like, and at the end, that's why I'm like, oh, that's it for my rant.
Yeah,
it's a rant. Like I just
it's a rant.
Yo, guys, like be better, do more, be an example. Like, because that's what had to happen to me. You know, I grew up seeing a certain way of how, you know, how my family lived or whatever. The Hispanic culture is, you know, mucho machismo, mucho like, you know, my mom had at one point a bigger business than my dad. My mom used to clean houses.
I heard that's a good business.
She had it going for herself, and my dad shut it all down, you know. I don't know why.
Because maybe in the culture, la mujer no puede tener más que el hombre.
Yeah, the machismo. Like he's hurting, maybe he's hurting his ego. I'm not sure. But
shit,
like,
I can't wait till my girl makes more money than me. I'm gonna be like,
yeah, it's like you. And I look back and I always wanted to ask her, and I haven't asked her to. I was like, why did he shut it down? Because I remember we used to be my grandma used to babysit us and stuff, and like my mom was working and she was cleaning house, and they had the setup so legit where my dad used to mow the grass and my mom used to clean the house.
Oh, bro,
like the setup, the combo was
all
crazy,
in one,
dude.
huh?
It was like,
oh, bro, I need a service like that to go through my house and
right, and it's just like all in one,
perfect.
And then
imagine if she figured out the systems you figured, dude.
Yeah,
she'd be like the Adriana's insurance of cleaning houses, bro.
Molly Maid or something,
whatever. Yeah, like it's crazy, bro.
For whatever reason, I think just the culture, you know, like maybe you know, the machismo or like or you know, sometimes whatever it was, she had to shut it down, and I saw the way they grew up, and I just wanted to like take in mental notes because I never created a diary or a journal or anything, but I took mental notes, and now I need to live life as a dad, as a representative of my family. I don't want to do those things, you know. Like,
and it's fine, you know. Like you obviously subliminally, I think you acquired some knowledge from them running their businesses. Subliminally, you learn like, hey, you know, did you ever work with your mom cleaning?
No, okay. We're too young.
So maybe if you were in there, you would have seen your mom talk to the client, be like, you know, we're going to be here every day at this time. So you learn, boom, consistently being early. With your dad, you probably had situations where the client was not happy with a shrub or something. And he's like, okay, we'll fix it. So you learned quality, you know. Yeah. Subliminally, you learn all this. And now your job as a father, like I am as well, is to teach our kids that we got to this level. Yeah. You guys take it to the next level.
Exactly.
You get me? And I'm pretty sure that's what you're doing with your kids.
And that's probably what drives me, bro. Because look, our parents in the Hispanic culture, they come here with nothing. Like my dad tells me stories of how poor they were in Mexico, how, you know, they had to legit go cross, you know.
Where are your parents from?
Aguascalientes, Calvillo. My mom's from Jalisco. I don't know anything about Jalisco. She's been here for the longest. But my dad is from Calvillo, Aguascalientes. And I've been to the ranch.
Saludos, Aguascalientes.
Yeah, saludos, Aguascalientes. I know we got a couple of viewers in our Vivid page. So
yeah.
But they come and in pursuit of the American dream. They come to America, they don't know English, they don't have no education. My dad went to like, I think they call la primaria, which is like first, second grade, third grade, whatever. Because then from there, the culture out there is like you go out in the field and you work. Yeah. You know, van con el sembrado a limpiar los cajetes de los terrenos, a echar agua a las plantas, a los árboles. Sorry. And if they were able to build a business with the little resources they had, they weren't even bilingual. They barely even could communicate, you know, pointing a thing here and there. I've seen my dad, you know, it's pure sign language, you know, the little English he knows. And I see him and I'm like, this guy's not doing bad for himself, man. No resources, no educational background. Like all it is like hard work and being honest with the client. He always told me, when you start your business, just be honest with the client. Provide value and be honest. That's it. There's no go around or anything. Because that's how he built his business, was, you know, kept his promise. He kept his word. If he said, I'm going to charge you $150 to mow your lawn and it's going to be a nice looking lawn, it was a nice looking lawn. So then Mrs. Smith went to go tell Mrs. Johnson, hey, Tony keeps his word and he delivers. And now, you know, fast forward a couple of years, for them it took him a long time because the resources was different, the information was different, but it took him 30 years to build a business of like 5 employees, but he's living the American dream. He owns his house. He has his good cars. He set up right for someone who didn't have resources from coming from like a home where they have no windows, they didn't have no hot water, they didn't have, So I asked myself, why can't I fucking do more? I have all the resources.
Because we have the resources. We have the English. Yes. We have the internet capabilities. We have
everything available to us.
Yeah.
It's just the mindset that's stopping us.
And let's talk about that mindset. Remember, we were behind cameras. I said this podcast should be. When we talk about it in the iconic podcast, everything boils down to like mindset, huh? Yeah. How we think, and we need to change how we think sometimes because we have to do that change in order to be better. And if we don't change the way we think within ourselves or how we perceived ourselves, then we're never gonna take different leaps,
Yeah.
And what I do see in the Latino culture, especially like in our families, in the beginning, nobody likes to talk about being idealistic. Like, you know what? I'm gonna own a company that's gonna have this much workers or this much of revenue. I'm gonna be doing that. We're not allowed to say that in a way because then you're just being like boastful or you're just being like presumido,
Yeah.
But I feel different, dude. I feel like we should be talking about that. We should be saying, you know what? We're gonna build the biggest company we're gonna build in this place or wherever your dream is.
Yeah.
Say it, but then act on it too, because then you're just saying it to shoot it in the air, right?
Yeah.
But in the Latino community, like especially, I'm not gonna speak for every Latino. I'm just gonna speak for like how we are in our family. We never sit down and talk about business. We never do. It's just always when we're at parties, we're just shooting the shit about different stuff.
Yeah.
Why don't we meet up and just say like, let's meet up, guys. Whoever has business in our family now, there is like, how many entrepreneurs we have? Like 10 or 12.
Nice.
All different aspects. Like obviously the tattoo industry, we have the nails, we have real estate development, we have the party rentals, my brother, restaurants. So they're all starting to become more entrepreneurs, but we never really sit down and be like, hey man,
brainstorm with each other and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's because that old mentality too, that old culture, like, oh, he can't be, like, again, machismo culture.
Mm-hmm.
They put you down for trying to be better because they don't want you to be better than them. You know what I mean? Prime example for me, like when I was trying to go, like I was leaving the business of, I was working with his brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling her, I was like, I don't want to do this no more. I was working there for 2 years full time, and then I was like, I'm gonna just go back to school. Fuck it. I don't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I just knew I don't want to do that. So went back to school, started doing that, decided to go into art, and then I decided I'm just gonna completely move and do something else completely. I said I was gonna do something better, but then I got that negative feedback where like, well, you're already getting paid here. Well, why are you gonna leave?
Yeah.
Why are you gonna do that? Stay here and do this, like you said. So I think it goes back to like now that I have all those people doing different things. I feel like now we can start that, and not just our generation will like benefit from it, from our family, but the future generations, like our nephews, our nieces, all that, because they're already gonna have that ingrained. Okay, we can help each other out better.
Exactly, and it's very popular in our Hispanic community. Where sorry, we don't want like to share so much information or guide someone into a better direction.
Yeah, we don't talk about money either.
Money is not good to talk about. People with money are bad, or let's say this, because I've always been called around my family muy ambicioso. Hey, este palo es muy ambicioso. I'm too ambitious in a negative tone. Like I'm like, what's wrong with being ambitious? Like, but they take it like, or tienes que ser humilde. What does humble have to do anything with
I don't agree on that
with
either.
dreaming big and creating something big? Because as far as I know, the bigger I dream, the more people I can help. See, I got 28 employees. That means
28 families you got to help.
28 families that because of their hard work, we contribute and we all help each other out. Yeah. If I had a very small business or only thinking for myself, being selfish, they think that I'm selfish because entre más tiene, más quiere. The more you have, the more you want. That's just a different mindset that they have. The perspective of that, they don't see the bigger picture. I want big. I want something humongous so I can help more people, bring more people upward. I try to pay outside of the minimum wage, you know.
Do you have a goal of how many employees you want?
I don't.
No?
Because it gets harder. Like, I think when I get to 20, it's going to be easier. It's hard. When I get to 25, it's going to be easier. It's hard. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been at 32. It's hard. So I'm like, it never gets easier.
And you are HR, right?
Yeah, we are our own HR.
You're your own HR. Yeah,
we're our own HR.
We got 8 people here.
That. Like, how do you handle 20 employees? I mean, everybody, there's different mindsets in that. There's different attitudes. How do you do it?
I feel like I'm very involved in the way we're like training and develop the personalities, because it's like everything we're talking about earlier. Not everyone wants more in life. So I have those guys that I don't really have to worry about. And then I have the guys that are really hungry and eager and like, when am I next? When am I? Yeah. Hey, is a foreman position open? Like, I'm down with it. Like, hey, trying to prove so much. I'm like, hey, calm down, dude. Like, but every time we mess up or anything, like, and then, you know, I always say, hey, we have meetings. I'm not gonna say every week, but we have meetings probably like once a month. I'm very one-on-one with guys. I call them after work. We have like an hour, 2-hour conversation, try to like develop them, persuade them to being better, bringing their teammates up. And then when I hear controversy, like Fulanito saying this or that, that's what gets hard. Mm-hmm. So I get everyone together. Hey, I don't want bullshit, man. This is family right here. Like, this is, if the scale goes too much this way, we fall out. If you guys don't help take care of what the company's making, the company can't take care of you. Mm-hmm. So just transparency. And I feel like, as far as I haven't had any bad luck with guys. I mean, there is 1 or 2 guys, you know, someone steals here and there, they get fired, or someone, you know, there's been a few, but not guys where, you know, where I hear everywhere, like, I can't find any workers. I can't, the guys are, you know, they're no good. They can't, they give me any production or anything. Like, no, my guys are great, you know.
I want to go back to where the mindset is. I mean, I think that's very important, how we think. Dude, I agree. We should stop being less humble and be more proud to say that we want more.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine. We want more for the right reasons, not to have Lambos and whatever. Like, I can't even fit in a Lambo, to be honest, you know? So, but the more what you said earlier, the more I'm able to provide in this business, the more I can help everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we do need to aspire and push for all that. You know what I'm saying? And I think in the mindset of the Latino culture is like, stay humble and just work hard in silence. But nowadays, like, what does that mean? What does it mean, work hard in silence? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you say you want to grow and you want to be a better business, if we want to say we want to grow and be the best tattoo shop in Inland Empire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bold statement to say. We said it here many times on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That means we have to be on point. That means we have to hire on point artists. That means we have to produce on point work.
Yeah.
You know? So there comes a responsibility with saying that you want to grow.
See, but I think the more you build up, I think your definition of humble changes. You know what I mean? Because your definition of humble in the Latino community, from when you're barely crossing over and you're over here barely building, you want to keep that low tone, that low key, you know?
Yeah.
So that's their humble definition, or their definition of humble. But I think as you get older, you start seeing it differently. Like, yeah, I think you don't get rid of it. You join it with your ambition.
Yeah.
And that's when you start helping people, and you start exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you're helping your employees build their confidence, help them build their mindset. And that's a humble version of you.
Yeah.
It's true.
And I think that's fact. As you grow into that stage where, you know, you can build and staying in your lane, right? I just work. I work. I don't care what happens on my right, what happens on my left. I don't care what are they gossiping behind me. Because in my family, I mean, it's happened a lot, you know. And I could have been reactive and gone back and get into their level, but I, you know, with my feet in the ground, I think I'm more educated now than them to go back and put myself into something I don't need to put myself. So I just continue working and focus on the growth and the ones that are really there building with me.
When did you reflect back and be like, damn, I got a serious business now?
I don't think I've even reflected on that.
Oh, okay. Like maybe when you got like your
I do here and there
third truck or something, you know? How many trucks do you own, by the way?
12.
Like 12?
Yeah.
Holy shit, 12 trucks?
Yeah.
That's a logistical.
Yeah, it gets complicated.
That's crazy. That means you got to change tires all the time. I know because I used to run the business for my brother for a year, you know? And he had 5 trucks, and I was just like, damn, the logistics of gas and, you know, and something breaks and all that shit, you know? So...
Well, now, you know, as you grow, more problems arise, right? So as I grew outgrew the place where I was at. The place I was at, it wasn't good for me to be there anymore. I was in a place where family was there and my trucks were there and I was there, and it just wasn't working out anymore. I had to leave. But then now, where do you find a place for so many trucks and so you can operate?
Yeah.
And then where do I put my family? Now I have to, you know, leave there and then leave and find a place for my family as well. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, you couldn't have your family at the workplace all the time.
No, and that's how it was happening there, where I was growing. So I had a really good opportunity to grow there, but when I grew and as things escalated and happened, I had to leave. But I also had to pull my family out. And then I got lucky. I got a yard in Upland, so now I have a yard there, a little office space and a yard, and I put all my trucks in there. That's the day-to-day operations there. And then I have I rented a house in Azusa. Then I put my family in the house. But
going back to the
it's scary.
hometown?
It's it's scary. Like when I being in a little trailer, paying $700 a month, to then moving to the studio that he had there, which was paying $1,200 a month, and then now having to worry about paying, $4,500 for rent for your business, and then another $2,500 for your house.
Yeah.
Numbers start to add up.
They add up quick.
And then putting a project manager doesn't generate more. It frees up your time, but it doesn't really generate more. So now that's another, whatever you're paying your project manager.
That's true.
So now you have to put that on the table. So it does get kind of difficult, but I mean, it's been working for me, and I encourage anybody to just keep going, man.
When did you hire a project manager?
Late last year.
That's a pretty big step. What you're saying there is now I'm going to trust somebody to keep the quality that I maintained for the first 6 years, because you said last year, right?
Yeah, late last year.
And then he's going to represent Vivid now, so that now that's going to free me up so I can think bigger, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was hard because I wanted to be so involved. I wanted to control the landscaping. I wanted to, but we were growing. We had such a quantum leap. Like we grew from, when COVID hit, we were from 12 to 24 employees in the span of those 2 years. So we doubled up in size. And then now, we grew up a little bit more. So then handling estimates, doing bids from blueprints, to talking to new co-leads, to selling the jobs, to micromanaging the landscape projects, to being informed with the maintenance divisions, to dealing with the maintenance customers, to, admin work. I mean, I was stretched out as far as a fucking rubber band could stretch.
Was the project manager a person you knew or somebody out of the blue? From
LinkedIn
or something?
I'm a big believer in growing from within.
Oh,
yeah,
you saw somebody.
I'm big on that. Yeah,
that's dope, bro.
That's where I see my guys that have been with me since for 5-6 years, the beginning. I'm like, you guys. See, the bad thing is that going back to mindset, some people don't want. Hey, go learn English, bro. You fit the description that I need. Yeah. Just go learn English. Get your license. Está cabrón.
Me gustan las chelas.
En la tarde, I got my kids, and I'm like, bro, school is free. 6 to 9 is free. Twice a week. That's all you need. Learn English. Nah, but it's hard, bro. You don't get it because you got to figure it out. You got lucky. Bro, talk about luck. You don't talk about luck.
They think you just got to that position snapping fingers.
Yeah. Huh? And sometimes workers foresee oh, you have this big company, El Millonario Pablo. I'm like, bro, you see how my numbers roll. It's difficult. It's difficult starting up and building and investing.
Just show them the bill of gas per month. They're gonna be like, no more.
Well, I'm how you said earlier, $3 million company. I'm plus $100,000 a month in just employees. So getting to disciplining yourself to be able to execute that. Because temptation is there, right? Yeah. Oh, the new TRX came out, or this and that. I even bought my car, and I still drive a work truck, to this day.
Do you? That's dope.
1996 Dodge Ram. I know Carlos laughing at that because I don't deserve that.
You can have that brand new TRX, bro. You're postponing. I know you could probably afford it now, but I think what you're doing is like you're still in the grind because you know that there's still more to do. Yeah, you know.
And I'm past that. I've had that when I was young.
Oh,
I had the nice trucks when I was young. When I was winning $24 a month and
you
had an $800 fucking truck payment, you know, I had that. So I think it comes with perspective and mindset. Like now, I don't really care for that stuff. Like all I have to wear is Vivid. Like I don't care about fancy stuff. I don't wear
Gucci shirt right there that says Vivid.
Dude, like
he's probably wearing the Gucci belt.
The Gucci belt.
Dude, I would have shown my belt right now. It's like I've had that shit for 5 years. It's a real nice leather belt that the guy. We know this guy that rolls up in a van and he sells work shoes and hats and sombreros and belts. And I bought it off that guy. Like, hey, how much is the belt? 20. I'll give you 15, bro. Come on. Because I know you, and I just been rocking the belt.
What's that Home Depot brand? Carhartt. No Carhartt style. No Nike. Well, I mean, some people wear the Nike ones with the brand right there.
No. What is it? Under Armour or no? I think I bought this at Target or something.
Yeah, that just shows where your mind is, bro. Right. Your mindset definitely changed, and you're so hyper focused. That's what the word is.
Yeah,
you're so hyper focused on just. I don't know where you're going as far as your goal. You probably have it in your mind, but you know that. Buying a new truck right now and, you know, buying these nice shoes or whatever, you know, a big investment that's just more for the ego as opposed to the business is not where you're at right now. You know,
because there's so much more that needs to come from, and the time is not now because everything that you start, that's why a lot of people can't progress into building something so big because they're impatient. Nowadays, we're so impatient. Like, 2 to 3 years in the grind and they think, fuck, I haven't built anything, you know, I can't have because why social media is jabbing it down your throat with like, you know, I got the Lambo in a year and 12 months or I got the this and that. These young kids or these people are thinking, oh, I've been pushing it so hard for 3 years. I've been pushing for 7 years and I still know in my head that I need another 10 years, you know, to be able to then enjoy the fruits of the tree, you know. And I'm big on that. So now it's like, if a certain personal investment is going to cost me for the fun of it $80,000. I'm over here thinking that's 2 work trucks, bro. You know what I mean? Like, or that's 1 good work truck and like a full of equipment and everything, which is gonna generate 150 extra a year or whatever.
Yeah, I've talked to those conversations with my brother too. I'm like, man, get that new Denali, bro. And he's like, hell no, that's $100K. You know what I can do with $100K? I'm like, well, I guess, you know, they're in the same mindset. I recently purchased a truck like 2 years ago, and I bought it in, como se dice, like
Carlos over there talking shit
in the fucking heat of the moment, bro. You know, before I used to have my Honda, which I'm still have right now, and I still drove it today. You know, but
the white one,
yeah, the white one.
The same one you had.
That's the same one, bro. I still got it, and I bought a fucking lifted white Silverado. Why? Because in my mind, like I deserved it, and I wanted to like stroke my ego, you know. And then 2 years later, I'm like, what the fuck, you know? Yeah. Like, I'm literally thinking about trading it in Carlos last for a Prius, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just fucking drive or keep my Honda. But sometimes we let our ambitions or our ego catch the better of us. And I'm not afraid to say it happened to me. Because prior to that, I have went like 10 years without a new truck, you know what I'm saying? But I felt like I can pull the trigger then, you know what I'm saying? And reward myself. So it takes discipline. Yeah. And I could have just easily stayed on track, you know, and who knows what that would have came. But I mean, I know it's an asset that hurts me. It doesn't better me just buying the truck, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, don't discredit yourself so much because I mean, every business is different.
Right.
I got a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
My business does not operate without people. People is your biggest investment. Like the asset wise, for me, it's location and employees, labor. My business is gonna function way different than yours, and you worked hard, and now maybe you do deserve it, and you can treat yourself to it because your business operates and gives you in a different way that mine does.
Correct.
I know that I can't do it right now. I mean, actually, I could, but I know that it's not the right time for me right now because I know the way I'm looking at my numbers and how my stuff functions is way different than how yours functions. So, and everybody's gonna be in a different boat. You know what I mean?
So talking about how our businesses now can interact, let's talk about some similarities and differences. And obviously differences is you're outside, you guys are doing, labor work. We're inside, and we're doing more of a craft. I mean, both are crafts. Let me correct that. But ours is more of a finite, I guess. What is your business? Like, if somebody tells you, if somebody asks you, what is Vivid about? What do you tell them? Like, in short, like, what's your elevator pitch?
I've never got asked that question, but if they tell me what's Vivid about, it's creating a quality company with a great culture, for services, full services in one. Because to me, when I talk to customers, the word quality is there, value. I want to educate my customer. Like, Vivid is what? Vivid is something bright, vibrant, colorful that can, like, oh wow, look at that vivid color. That's what I want my customers to experience. Wow, vivid landscape just really, really knocked it out with the experience. And I know you're big on that too, experience.
Yeah, we both say iconic is about the experience, because anybody can tattoo.
And I've been tattooed here, and I know the experience is you live to that standard.
I appreciate that.
I'm here and we're hanging out, we're having a good time. You go out, you buy me lunch. I'm like, what?
Did you hear
this
that?
This is great.
I did buy him lunch. No, because we said that was one of the things in our podcast that we actually do.
I saw that podcast, and I'm like, yeah, that's legit true. So there's no faking the funk. Like, you guys are making it happen, and the experience is there. I haven't been tattooed in this new location. I'm not sure, is it the same one, or do you have the other one still, or did you unite them?
We switched location.
We closed that one and moved to this one.
Okay, so I was on that one. I haven't been on this one. I'm gonna come soon, but the experience was all there. Yeah. Movie. What do you want to watch, bro? Movie was like $4.99. Buy it for him. Let's go. Oh shit! Like, I'm gonna watch a movie on Ricky's tab, But it was good. Like, I watched the movie.
I appreciate that.
Had lunch, and hey bro, when you need a break, it was just the experience was there. And in any business, you can plumbing, whatever you want to do, it's the experience too.
So that's what I was gonna ask you. What do you think differentiates you? That's a tough word to say. Differentiates. Nailed it. You from another company, from any other like landscape company.
Honestly, I feel like we genuinely care. And I feel like a lot of people right now are working hard, chasing a specific dollar amount rather than to chasing the value that they can deliver.
That's dope.
So we genuinely care. Like, we care to solve your problem. A lot of people are, just because of the hype or whatever, they're just like putting a number on it. Boom, we got 30K, let's go to the next job. We got another 20K, let's go to the next job. And I'm like, yeah, I lost money, but I got educated, and people were like, fuck, I don't want to lose money. You'll never lose money in a business. Yeah, you will. Yeah. You'll have to lose money, but money comes with experience. You lose money, but you get taught a good lesson. I got a guy, $60,000. Why? Because I was dumb enough not to make contracts. I was dumb enough to believe his words. I want you to be successful, buddy. I want you, Vivid, to be, boo, me pintó everything I needed to fucking imagine, bro. He saw me, I was young, dumb, and naive. And I said, fuck, this guy is a champion. He's my savior. Mm-hmm. Comes down to getting the final payment. He says, hey, just by the way, this contract we signed on, it says $250,000. But these other extras, the $67,000, I didn't sign it. And it was all handshakes and agreements. And he's like, I'm a lawyer, and like, this is the things I deal with all the time. And he pulls out his little change order. He's like, next time, give this to your customers.
Oh, no, mames, you said that.
Un hispano, bro. What's our biggest enemy, bro?
Too.
Yeah. Our biggest rival, bro, is ourselves, the Hispanic community, bro. And I was like, I thought he was playing. I was like, you're playing, man. Like, you're joking around, right?
Like,
He's
bro.
like, no, Jose, like, I feel like this is a learning experience for you. It's a good thing. And I think you'll do well. I mean, you guys do great work. And I was like, you fucking...
No fucking
I kept my cool, because I don't... you see all these videos where people are breaking shit and this and that. I was like, nah. Because why? Accountability. It was my fault. My dumbass had to fucking trust somebody, not do a contract.
The benefit of the doubt. And
at the end of the day, why hate on him? He played his cards right.
He played his right. Yeah.
He knew how to play we're playing chess. He fucked me. So I'm like, it's my fault.
Yeah.
So, hustling here and there, I got like another 20K out of him, doing more work for money that was already owed to me.
Yeah. Just to kind of...
So I'll do this more for you, but if you give me 5K, all right, just do it. To a point where like it wasn't, I'm like, you know what? Wake up already, dude. It's not happening. You're losing way more. Like, just move on with life. Mm-hmm. Put it in your little books of experiences learned, and then try to never do that again. And it's hard for me to not
change
do that
orders every time, because even though
even to this day, like sometimes I don't do them.
Oh, you still don't?
Yeah, because like I'm such like a like Carl said, like I'm really trustworthy with the customers. Like me llevo bien, like we create a good relationship, this and that. I'm like, don't worry about it. Like we'll just throw it on the thing. Yeah. And then when I leave, sometimes I'm driving, I'm like, fuck, I should have done a change order.
You're gonna think of that lawyer.
Yeah, I'm like thinking this, but but not everyone is set out to do what he's doing. He's a lawyer. He whatever his
agenda was, yeah.
He knows he's programmed for that. I don't believe too many people are gonna be. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's more I saw after working with him that it proved like he was just set up for that, and that's why he has everything he has too. He said it himself. Mm. But again, can't be mad at him. I'm more mad at myself, right?
Yeah. Definitely a learning experience.
Yeah.
Unless it cost you $60,000.
Yeah, like 30 something because I recovered a little bit of it, but still, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Like that was one of my hardest. This was 2020.
That was your year of college right there.
That was my year tuition, dude. Your tuition in a quick.
But that's what business is about, right? Like how many times have we been in this situation here too, where we, something doesn't go the way we plan, and we're like, all right, this is how we learn from it. You know? You have to try it,
And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to lose.
Nobody wants to lose. That's why they don't.
They don't want to lose. They don't want to lose money. They don't want to lose time. They don't want to. The fear of the unknown. But like, guys, you're gonna lose. You go to look at all the people that get master's degrees and they're not working. How much are they in debt and they're not working? Why not risk? You're risking it either way. Like the old saying says, "Hey, life's hard. Choose your hard."
It's true.
What kind of hard do you want? And then deal with that in life. It's perspective there too. Like you start to see, do I want to be poor and broke and live that hard lifestyle? Or do you want to fight for something and live, chasing your dreams and have that be your hard? Because long-term wise, I bet you the heart of chasing your dream and working for something is going to be the better benefit, I think.
Damn, man. As you're saying all this, it's like, that's true.
Do you feel like you going all in really helped you out a lot more than just doing it on the side?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people.
Well, yeah. Because I do see a lot of people doing it part-time or on the side.
Because everybody talks about side hustles,
yeah.
Right? And a lot of people that's what it stays, a side hustle. But I think once you decide to just go all in and take that risk, like you're saying, that's when you really start seeing the change in it.
Yeah. And it really challenges yourself.
Yeah.
We're talking about how you can never expect to grow if you're always riding that the boat, like the comfortable, like you're in your comfort zone. You're riding that 9 to 5 security. People are looking for security. Like I'm secure in this job. I have this safe job, union job or corporate job or whatever. And then I'm gonna do my side hustle. But think about it. I always tell some of my guys too, car wash buddies that I have and everything, like, what happens when daylight savings goes away? It gets dark at 5. You can't side hustle there. What are you gonna do? Go full time, bro. And this guy's busy. My buddy's busy and everything. I'm like, go full time, dude. You're ready for it. Oh, but I don't know, man. Like, my job is pretty secure. And then I'm like, then that means you're only side hustling for summer. Like, that doesn't exist. You have to go balls in. Like, go all in. Let it go. And it's not for all of us. No es pa todos. That's another thing too. Business is not for all of us. It's hard. Anxiety, depression, there is failures. There is impacts where financially you get crushed and everything. As Annie likes to say, you get kicked in the balls or you get kicked in the face. But it's just having that mindset of just getting back up and moving forward. Yeah, I think it pays dividends down the road. It pays dividends. It's just having to stick with it and pursuing it.
There comes a level of trust with it too, because you can't just say it's gonna pay off because you don't know if it's gonna pay off.
Yeah,
that's a risk you gotta take, like you said.
Yeah,
so you gotta trust it.
That's a fear, Like for me, my fiance was always like, "When are we gonna see? When are we gonna see?" And I'm like, "One day." I don't know when, but one day,
Quick interruption here from the podcast, guys. I know you're listening to it right now, but I just want to let you guys know, if you guys are looking for a tattoo in the Fontana area or Inland Empire, check out our website. Josh is going to tell you guys a little bit more about our website.
Yeah, so if you want to check out our website, go on iconictattoostudio.com. You can check out all the artists that we have here at the shop on there. If you want to set up an appointment with one of them, you can fill out the consultation form and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
So you have all this, years expanding, right? Let's talk a little bit about like how your marketing and social media I see that you do really good on your Instagram and with Anchored Minds, of course, shout out to Anchored Minds. But how do you feel social media has helped your business?
I think it's just something everyone should be doing. I saw it early on because I do get business from it. I do get people asking for work from it. And now even more than anything, I get people wanting me to mentor them and saying, hey, I love what you're doing. I love what you guys are doing there at Stay Shining, Stay Grinding. Or from there, people like want to ride along with me for a whole day. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't really do that,
Is it younger people or is it more like your age?
They seem like
older?
Younger. Based off like their picture and stuff, they seem like younger.
Do you filter them out? Like, okay, you click on their page and then you see, first of all, are they not private? Are they
sometimes
public?
They're private.
Yeah.
And like this one guy he was calling me and he was trying to kick it with me, and he came from Texas to Cali. He had family and he wanted to kick it so bad, but this guy didn't have no pictures. Yeah. He had like a picture of him in a razor. And like I was like, I don't know, man.
Sketch, huh?
It's just I don't know if I overthought it, but my intention wasn't not to kick it with him, but it was just like it didn't. Why not have pictures if you Yeah. It was weird to me.
Yeah.
Other people ask and they're like, yo, we love what you're doing. We love the growth. Like, we love your content. Like, when I put something about commercial properties, they're like, how do you get into commercial? And I'm writing back. And then so they're surprised I write back.
Yeah, I think that matters. Like what you said, that situation, if I know that I'm going to contact you, my Instagram better be like something that you right away can pick up and be like, okay, this guy is a serious cat. He has a small business or whatever. Yeah. He generally needs help. But if they're first of all, if they're private, and we always say this, like when we're trying to hire artists, if you want to work for us, your page better be public. I don't believe in a private page, because if you want to be a business owner, why is your page gonna be private? You know, it's like saying like, don't look at me, but I want to do stuff.
Yeah, and like you want to showcase your work, but it's covered with blinds. Yeah, it's like where do I look?
Exactly, and then also too how they introduce themselves to you in the message. Hey, Jose, I've been watching your stuff for a while, man. I think your stuff is cool, motivating, blah, blah, blah. I have a couple questions. Would you ever take time to answer my questions? I believe that after reading that, you'd probably have more incentive to be like, let me help this guy.
Yeah.
But if they're just not even a picture or anything, you're kind of like, man, I don't got time for this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So it matters.
Most of them come up with like a few questions. Like they introduce themselves, what they're trying to do, and then 2 to 3 questions. And I'll just be happy to I'll answer it.
Do you see that people go in and they automatically they message you and they automatically start asking questions, or do they create a conversation first? They get to for you to get to know them first, and then they ask you the question.
There's a little bit of both. I mean, some are just straight shooters. Like they'll just be like, "Hey, what's up? My name's so and so, and I'm trying to build this company. And dude,
your secret
I'm
right
so
away.
Inspired by your stuff. And like, how do you manage that, or how do you grow something into that? Like, if you don't mind me asking." And then I'll be like, "No, I don't mind." Like I'll tell them just whatever I feel like it's right to tell them. Yo, like I didn't expect you to write back. Like this guy shot his asked me like 3 questions. I answered all of them. It was about commercial properties. He was like, "Damn, funny thing is I never thought you'd write back."
That's crazy.
And then he's like, "But good shit. Like this is valuable. It's gonna help me out." And I said, "Oh yeah, I hope it does. Like implement it and run with it, dude." He's like, and I think either him or one of the other guys came back and was like, "Yeah, would you be ever willing to mentor me? Like jump on a call and like and do that kind of education?" I'm like, not right now. I directed it more to like the podcast, but I think that's something that I might want to get into.
Yeah, we talk behind the cameras. I think you should.
Yeah,
whenever you're ready, obviously. But that's just another opportunity for you to genuinely help other people, because now currently you're genuinely helping your clients.
Yeah.
Well, now you can genuinely help entrepreneurs. You know what I'm saying? By doing it in the right way. Whenever you're ready, obviously. I was gonna ask you a question of do you find a lot of people are curious, because I read some of your comments on when you guys post your Instagrams, and I see a lot of like small companies and they're saying, "Oh, that's dope, man," like, "Oh, that's a good tip,"
Yeah.
And I always analyze it because, like I said, I knew a little bit of the landscaping. I knew a small percentage of it.
Yeah.
Right? So I remember one time you were talking about how much surface area to remove when you're gonna put rock or something or mulch, because you got to consider the acreage and how much depth.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's perfect. That's perfect content, because homeowners don't know that's gonna take 8 loads. They're gonna be like, "There's that much dirt in there." Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
And I actually saw the house. It was in Azusa.
In Azusa, in the corner. Yeah, that was a tricky one, and I decided to post that because I learned the hard way, because soil like expands. Mm-hmm. So like if you say, tell a client, I'm gonna remove 2 inches, and if you calculate the square feet by 2 inches, and you say it's 2 truckloads, it ends up being like 4 or 5 truckloads.
Because it expands when you break it up, right?
Yeah. Like that shit inflates. It's weird. And guess who pays that out of pocket? The contractor pays out of pocket. And you can't go back and say, "Hey, Mr. Smith,
I'm sorry."
So now it's 3 more truckloads, and it's $600 per truckload, and the Bobcat guy charges me $900. So can you break me off a check?
They're gonna be like,
silly. Like, I got you because you were cheap. Like,
and I saw those comments, and I was like, some of the guys were like, "That's a good tip. I never thought about that."
Yeah.
So you bringing value in like that, those kind of like certain situations, I'm assuming people are wanting more from you.
Yeah. A lot of people have told me that the stories are very helpful, and both the videos that we do, especially, I think right now the ones that are starting to take off are like the how-to videos. Like how to do this, or how to sand the concrete countertop, or how to install low voltage wiring, rather than, the before and after. So mixing it up is very like entertaining for people. Like, what are we gonna expect next?
Yeah.
And just us holding it down and just really just delivering content and showing what we do and just being genuine. I even have people like, I got a guy with a $9 million company reach out to me, and he just shot me down like a list of advice. Like, dude, I love what you're doing. This is genuine. And, he said, I see other people, but I don't like what they're doing, this and that. Like, I see your company's going to get, to places. And he's up north. I'm not sure if I should say his name or not, but he like, I was surprised how all the information was so valuable, and he broke it down to like, makes me more productive. This makes me money. This doesn't make me money. Focus on this. And I was like, what? I like even screenshotted it, like in case this shit deletes,
Yeah.
And I took it, and I was like, wow, like these guys are looking down to us, trying to bring us up. And he's a white guy. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if it was a Hispanic guy, it'd be hard to believe that he's going to want to reach down and say, "Hey, come up, bro."
Yeah.
Like, and we need to start doing more of that. Like, we need to start helping each other grow, instead of, always like
trying to bring us down.
Yeah. Trying to like always like try to like belittle each other, or fight for like the same route. Like, I always tell my guy, like, everyone wants to start a business. The most competition is when you're getting started. All the little houses, like $60, $100 houses, like for us, lawn care, like competition is below, because to do 5 years, a lot of people fall out. So by the time you're 5 years, by the time you get into commercial, competition is less, way less. You're dealing with 100 different companies down here, little startups, like little, average lawn care guy with in a truck with 2 guys or a guy. There's about 100 of them down here in the city of Azusa,
Yeah.
And then you get to like starting to do commercial work and dealing with management companies. Now you're dealing with 10 companies.
Yeah.
And then if you do 10 years, now you're only dealing with probably like 5 companies.
Yeah.
So the longer you stick into it, the longer you prolong it, you just keep writing, keep pushing. I think competition gets less. And then as you figure out your numbers and what works, what doesn't work, you start making more money. I figured out early on, a lot of guys are trying to chase 30 houses a day. I don't know how they do it.
30 houses a day?
Yeah, like I see people. Yeah, maintenance. Like,
what is that? Mow and blow and go?
Basically. But how much can you charge for that, right? Let's say you're charging, and this is a lot. Let's say you're charging $100 a pop for mow and blow. You do 30, that's $3,000. La putiza que te vas a llevar, bro.
A month?
That's $3,000
a day.
A month.
Oh, a month.
Yeah, because you service it. You charge $100 a month.
Oh, $100 a month.
4 visits a week. So like that route, the revenue is $3,000.
Yeah.
And you can imagine the guys are like ninjas, bro. Just
don't even have time to
puro
eat.
polvo, and then the next house, the next house. So I started figuring out like, fuck that. I need to like charge more, provide more value, and do less properties. So I started doing $300 houses, $250 houses, and I would only do 10, 12. Tell my guys, chill. I don't need you guys running around, throwing dust on the windows, the floor mats all flipped over and stuff. Like, you provide more value, more of a quality-based service. You'd have to stress out doing 30 visits a day for, at the most, I would say $100. But I think those are like $60 houses, you know?
Yeah.
Which is nothing wrong. You start up with something. I start with, but I learned, you have to learn as you start to brainstorm about how to make your business better. Mm-hmm. You start to get ideas of like, how can I charge more? But if you're going to charge more, you have to learn how to provide a better service.
Can you provide a better service to that? Okay, so to that house that was paying $60 a month, to the same house, or you think that's not the client for you? You have to let go of that one and go look for the ones that are willing to pay $250.
It may not be the client for you,
right?
Yeah,
because that goes similar. I'm thinking about how our industry works, and you're right on point with that's a similarity that I feel is the same. When you start in the bottom, when you start doing small tattoos, small bangers, you know, there's a dime a dozen that tattoo artists that can do those, you know.
Yeah. As
you go in your time and you create more experience in tattooing, you know, in the 5 years even, and even in the 10-year, you know, you can start doing bigger tattoos. We don't even mess with the small ones, if that, you know. Yeah. You can leave those for a different market, the newer artists or whatever. But there's times where maybe that there's a certain client that walks in that's willing to pay, you know, $800 for a small tattoo. Yeah. It's rare, but most of the time they're willing to pay just a small amount. So that's why I asked, like, in the landscape business, if you want a landscaper to go and charge more, he'd probably have to go to a different neighborhood, right? Somebody with more of more higher income then.
Yeah. Maybe? So I started like focusing on attracting higher customers, hiring clients. I would get calls, for example. I grew up in Azusa. I love Azusa, but if I would get clients in Azusa, I would be like, we don't service that area. I would say, you know, if I landed a job in like Glendora, I would like distribute my cards.
Right? It's different.
Yeah, I would put my cards 5 houses to the right, 5 houses to the left, and cross the street over, 5 houses to the right, 5 houses to the left. And then if I ever saw them, hey, can you help me out with a recommendation or anything? I'll throw in like some free fertilizer or whatever. Yeah. I just wanted to attract a healthier clientele base. Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say it starts by, you know, it also starts by shifting the mindset and saying there is more, there is better out there. It's just it doesn't have to be growing, and there's never like at the bottom is a fight for the lowest price. You come in at 100, the other guy's gonna be like, oh, yo lo hago por 80, I'll do it for 80, and the other guy's gonna be like, I'll do it for 75. Yeah. Hire me right now, and I'll add fertilizer. The client, what does the client want? Those clients, they just want to pay the lowest price that they can find. They don't care about you, the service, your company, your growth. They don't care. And upwards of, if you get quality-based customers, clients, they'll happily recommend you, and they won't talk about, oh, hey, call Vivid because he's cheap. He's very affordable. Yeah. They'll be like, hey, call Vivid because he has they have a good experience. Their guys are good, quality. They take care of the property just as they promised, and I'm very happy with them. Oh yeah, but what are they? They're a little expensive, but they're definitely worth it. Yeah, and that takes a different direction right there.
Dude, I just remember hearing a podcast talking exactly what you're talking about. How, providing, like, I think we're talking about it. Also, we heard it together. Talking about providing 3 different services.
I remember you were saying something about that. Offered 3 different types.
Yeah. So, kind of how you're saying, like, you have those landscapers that do the minimum amount, right? Yeah. And then you have the ones that do a little bit above that, and then you have the ones that charge even more, because at the end of the day, they want to pay less, right? It's only that little few that care about the quality. So, going back to you, like, what made you like think outside the box and kind of see what you had to do to build that quality?
Getting educated, man. Getting educated and getting educated in the way of like learning how to not only work hard but work smart.
Yeah. And going back to, you said, like, you didn't want to wear out your employees.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With those
30 properties in one stop. That's a lot. And that not only beats up your employees, but it beats up your trucks, tires, your equipment.
And then they're speeding, possibly get it.
And then you got to reinvest more to fix the lawnmower or fix the truck or new tires. So at the end of the day, you're even losing money. And if you break it down, you're paying the customer for you to mow their lawn.
I think what Josh is a good point. Sometimes you have to reflect on how do you want to conduct business. So you could either be the cheapest guy out there and be super busy, but overworking yourself, or you can decide to raise up your prices, provide more value within those prices. You can't just raise up your price and do the same work, right? You'd have to analyze what else can you bring to the table.
Yeah.
And then once your prices go up, then you don't have to work as much, but you still get that, that good salary, whatever.
Exactly.
Right? And then there's the next tier. Like, you want to be exclusive. Like, these are my prices. This is exclusivity.
Yeah.
If you want, I can, I'll charge these higher prices. And I might not get that much clients, but you're going to be able to find those clients. And they're out there. You just got to go out there and find them.
Yeah.
Right?
You got to start building a reputation for yourself more than anything. Because then after that, word of mouth takes off like wildfire.
It's true.
Once you build that reputation and you live up to those standards that you're proposing to the customer, it takes off like wildfire. And kind of going back to what we said, what made me get into like switching up the 30 houses compared to like 12 houses or 10 houses, like just growing up working with my dad, simple as that. Like, this guy was just hustling down, chasing down anything that came through, work from sun up to sundown. And I would hear the conversations like, apenas sale, like there's barely enough for the rent or for the workers or and I'm like, you work from sun up to sundown. And like, don't get me wrong, he built his business, he lived the American dream, right? Because he came from nothing. But I'm like, I think I could build something more, and like our generation could build more than that, right? Because we have more resources and more. It's even free. There's more available to us nowadays. So I was like, I'm not gonna. If I work from sun up to sundown, I better be making fucking 3 times what he was making,
Exactly.
Or I could build because look, if I had one guy and I was driving the truck, he was my ride or die. I'd be like, hey bro, let's go till 8 o'clock or what? You down? I'll shoot you some more money. Let's go. But you can't do that with 28 employees, bro.
No.
You can't overwork people like that. Like, the structure, the culture, you will never grow. So now I had to build a system where, like, we work from 7 to 3:30, 7 to 4. And my dad's like, oh, why do you let them out so early? You're paying them. You're like, no, dude, it's different. Yeah. You can't do that with so many employees no more. Now you have to build a structure, a system where it's fair to them and it's fair for you. So then you have to charge a certain amount to be able to pay them, pay the bills, pay the trucks, and all that good stuff, and then still have some left over for the company or whatever. So it's more of that. Like, I was grateful enough to live the experience of how they handled it, and then I was able to kind of brace her and say, all right, how can I do this but in a bigger scale with less like workload, basically.
So now you're at this point, right? A lot of people see you as a success. You're still in the whole grind of it. You can't even peep your head out to see how far you are because you're still in the trenches, how they say, right?
Yeah.
When you're at like family parties and you have those conversations with people, like, what do you do? What do you tell them?
Like if I'm meeting someone new at a family party or whatever? Yeah. They'll just be like, the conversation, like I think just yesterday we were at a family party and there were some guys I didn't know, and he was like, hey bro, like, what do you do for a living? He said he was a recruiter for Farmers Insurance or something and all that good stuff. So I was like, oh, cool. He's like, so what do you do? And I was like, oh, I own a landscape company. Oh, really? That's cool. Some, if they're more like the Hispanic, they'll be like, oh, so cortas yardas. You cut grass, right? But he was more like, oh, landscaping, that's cool. I love landscaping. I love the transformation and all that. But if it's like someone who's like, oh, so andas cortando yardas y eso? Like, yeah, I do that too. There's no shame in that. A lot of people like want to categorize it as landscape, like superior to gardening. No, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's still bread and butter. You still can create. It might be. I treat it as 2 different divisions. I have my lawn care, my maintenance division, and I have my landscape installation. But it's still, it's the same thing for me. So from there, it's like, oh, cool. And how's that going? Oh, it's going good. And I learned to say it's going good, it's going great, because it is.
Yeah.
Before, we were talking about earlier, like the humble and like the don't talk about how good you're doing or anything because it looks bad. I used to be like, pues ahí andamos, like más o menos, like no, no ando más o menos, ando bien, bien. Gracias a Dios. And I always say that, gracias a Dios andamos bien. Oh, mucho trabajo, amigo. Oh, mucho trabajo ahorita. Mucho. Oh, sí, oh, qué bueno. He's like, porque mucha gente no tiene. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's, there's so many out there. They could, trabajo hay.
Yeah.
They always say, para el huevón nunca va a haber trabajo, pero para el que es chambeador, there's always going to be work. And it's kind of escalated to that. But then, I do get a lot of like, you're young, dude. Yeah. And then we talk about employees, or if it dives deeper, they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. You have this employees, you have this amount of trucks. What the hell?
So it's kind of going back to what you're saying. Like, I don't even have time to like look back and say, oh, wow, I'm all the way here already. Because I feel like I'm still in the trenches or figuring it out to the point where like, it feels almost like surreal. Like, I went from 0 to $3 million company. I would say self-made. Like I built it. And I never worked for a different company. I never knew, like I had to figure out my own systems. I had to figure out my own structure. Guys, I went from cash and then people would steal money from me. And then I had to go to payroll, to checks, and the whole transition, like building the whole thing to where it is now without ever having the experience of working anywhere else or other than the books and the mentorship stuff that we were talking about earlier, like self-education. But I think anyone could do it. And anyone that's in my position or in the position where like even a tattoo artist or whatever the trade is, but it all starts with the belief, right? You start believing in yourself and the vision, then you get to work. Once you get to work, you build traction. Every mild stepstone you builds an extra level of self-esteem, confidence in yourself. You start feeling good about that next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And all it is just focusing and looking forward, because the moment you stop and look to see what fulanito's doing on the right and fulanito's doing on the left, you're never gonna get past where you want to get because you're so distracted.
So what brings me to a good point. What would you say to a younger person right now that has probably been working for a guy or has been working in a landscape company? He's like, I could do it better, and he doesn't have much. Let's say he has under $5,000 worth of savings. What would you recommend to him? How would he start his own business? What would you recommend?
Primarily, I would say if, number one, it's not as easy as everyone makes it seem. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to ride the bull, you better be ready and strapped up. Like, it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
So that's number one, because it's going to start with challenging not only... See, here's the thing. We could all be, like, let's say he's a really good paver layer or he's a really good gardener. Mm-hmm. He's an all-star. He knows how to do everything prestige. But that doesn't mean he knows how to run a business.
Right.
And that's the challenge we come across when we start to step into the realm of entrepreneurship. We don't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to run a business. I'm learning how to run a business. I'm learning on the process. But number one is mentally prepare yourself for some fucking beatings, because it's going to be tough, especially if you're married, especially if you have kids, especially if you
have debt,
especially you're going to acquire more debt. It's going to get tough. And a lot of people need to, first, I would say, sit down with your partner if you're married and say, hey, this is what's about to happen. So, because it has to be a mutual support, because you can't pull right when your partner's pulling left. Yeah. I think that's very important too. Number two, if they just have a little bit of cash, just go for it, dude. Buy equipment from Home Depot, from Lowe's. That's how I got started. Fucking $300 lawnmower. Use weed whacker, use blower, whatever. Like, now thankfully, I have some old trucks, some new trucks, whatever, but just get started with whatever you can. Use social media to your benefit. When you're in a neighborhood, and now even they have the post office offers like a self-marketing thing where you give them 1,000 cars and then you choose what zone to do it and they'll distribute it for you.
Nice.
There's so many things that you can get informed of to get active. As soon as you start getting one customer, I would just say over-deliver to the max. Keep your promise, because that's where your reputation is going to start to build, from that first customer. Whether it's a cheap little house, you got lucky on a deal, or a first little landscape gig, and then start to build. And then from there, I think it's a learning on the trenches. Because when I got my license for landscaping, I went through the books, I went everything. It didn't have nothing to do with what was on the books, what was happening on the field. Yeah. It's completely different. The struggles, the adversities, the challenges, the obstacles I had to face on the field had nothing to do with the questionnaire that I had on the books.
Did it have a question about beware of lawyers?
No.
Yeah, that's my point. That they teach you the theories, but they don't teach you the actual.
Because there's two sections: a law and a trade. And the law just says, basically does, I guess, it says stays protected, write contracts, and all
stay away
stuff.
from sneaky lawyers.
And then the trade just says, how to do your trade. But neither of them, every situation, every client is going to be special in their own form. There's clients that are so anal about how you write their contract. There's some that, I don't need a contract, this and that. They're so smooth, they're so like down to earth. So that again challenges you as a person to develop and learn how to handle those situations. Because being on the field, your trade is one thing, running a business is another thing, and then customer service is another thing. How do you present yourself to the customer? Mm-hmm. How do you handle problems? You can't be someone that just says, la verga, si quieres y si no. And we have that blood in us. Hispanics are like, we want to just drop the ball real quick. We don't know how to like, all right, Ms. Smith, I understand. I know what you're going through. A lot of us don't have that patience.
Yeah, it definitely is a skill to be learned.
Yeah.
Where do you think the landscape industry is heading towards? Because we always ask our tattoo artist interviewers,
Yeah.
But I'd like to know, in your industry, where do you see the landscape industry in the next 15, 20 years?
I think, I don't even know the numbers of like how big the industry is, but I think it's going to double or I think it's going to grow way past what it is now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people are getting more, like we were talking earlier about people getting into trades or people learning new skills to be more self-independent. I think people like landscaping, for example, chat GDP, that's a whole nother thing, but that can replace a lot of jobs. That shit is not going to go install turf. It's not going to go in it's more of a skilled thing where if you learn that trade and you're valuable in it, you're going to do very well. I foresee that going, let's say we have a customer service rep for a dealership. You have to call and support system. ChatGPT or whatever computer system is going to be able to take on that job. But maybe they'll develop them, but I don't see robots installing a full fucking
sprinklers and pavers,
building a whole pool house, pools or pavers, concrete.
I've seen some pretty crazy machines lately that do eyelashes and stuff.
I think you're right, because I feel like trades are gonna become more
sought after.
More sought after because I mean they took it away from schools. Before high school, you were able to do different trades
woodwork. You get I still got that woodwork, leather work. I don't know if you guys ever did leather work, ceramics and so there's things that you could build a business and a future out of.
Yeah, when I went to high school, they didn't have any of that no more. They had ceramic. That's about it, and I think it was mechanic.
There's a school here in Fontana called E Fontana or something, E High School or something, and their focus is on how to do marketing and coding and all. It's all digital stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But with I see in my kids, they're not thinking about a trade. They're thinking about how to be in the digital realm, something to do with maybe YouTube or whatever the latest and greatest digital application is. So what I see is that not only is there going to be less people interested in the trade, the trade's going to be more valuable because now there's not going to be as many workers wanting to jump into it. And the ones that are going to be highly paid because the services are still going to be needed by homeowners, commercial buildings or whatever, property management and all that. That's still going to be needed, So I think it's only going to better you guys. You know?
I foresee that. I foresee it growing more and more and becoming more of value, both for whoever's having a company, running a company, or in the industry, both to whoever's looking for the services.
And as far as marketing, do you see? It's crazy that I saw Carlos was telling me he just got a couple more clients with the social media. I think that a lot of trades are gonna start jumping into their own podcast, their own. Social content, right? Yeah.
There's a lot of smart people out there, man. There's a lot of smart people, and then I think their voice just needs to be heard. Yeah. There's those that, if I listen to Andy Frisella or Bedros, we're talking about Bedros, that they're within their own, realm, their own expertise, but why not have the impact of someone like us talking to someone like us,
exactly,
in the same level as us or whatever? Because we're growing through it right now. We listen to the big guys that have already been there. They talk millions, they talk Lambos, they talk this and that. Like, that seems kind of far for an average guy, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to understand it from us exactly. And
yeah, the distance is like, fuck. Yeah, like this, easy for him to say. But, if we're talking here and said, hey, like, somos raza, man. Like, we're barely 5 years, 7 years in. Like, we're making it happen. Why can't you?
And if you would hear somebody on YouTube that says, I'm a $5 million company, I'm raza, I'm this, and you would see, okay, then that's the next level for me, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely room for people in the lower tiers, I guess, what I'm saying, not in the multi-millions to grow.
The platform is just getting started. I was when I was on the mastermind with Andy Priscilla and Ed Milet, and one of those private ones, Ed Milet, was like, you would think that this is a congested thing with like YouTube. He's like, it hasn't even hit, like, because not enough people are doing it. Not enough people are blogging their life or documenting, for example, your real life struggles. And people want to see that genuinity where, like, hey, bro, I'm just like you. Look, I'm in the trenches. I'm learning. I'm stressed out. And it's not just a pretty picture. Mm-hmm. And that provides more value for the watcher, the viewer, and it encourages them more to then say, you know what, this guy's, I've seen his journey of 3 years. I never documented. I wish I would have documented since the beginning. I didn't document it, but it would inspire someone to say, damn, I saw this fool live in that little trailer. And now, he has a $3 million company and he's making it happen. That's going to make me, I'm going to make it happen too.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by that. I'm driven by that. I'm excited. I got dopamine. I'm like hyped up for it. And we're over here just like trying to just document our life. You know?
Right.
But the impact that it represents, and that's what Ed Milet was saying.
That's interesting that he said, because one day I just started thinking like, wait a minute, because you do hear, oh, everybody's trying to be a YouTuber now. Oh, everybody's trying to have a podcast. And I'm like, it seems like it because we all go to the app where everybody goes to the app to do things, right? But in reality, when I talk to people that are just normal around here, I'm like, oh, I have a podcast. They're like, oh, that's different. I'm like, wait a minute, do you have a podcast? No, they don't.
Yeah.
So it's not saturated. It's barely starting. So it's interesting that Ed Milet said that. And I've watched a lot of his content, but I've never heard that part. And it's right. And he's right. Like, it's only the beginning, but we think it's oversaturated because we go to the app and you think everybody's doing it. But in reality, not a lot of people are doing it. He said
not enough people are doing it. He's like, because we're overthinking it.
Yeah.
And he's the one who I learned from, where like, nothing matters but the message. Who cares what you're wearing? Who cares how you look? Who cares you just woke up in the morning? Just document it. Just put it out there.
Speaking about the message, you what's your saying? Stay shining?
Oh, yeah. Stay shining, stay grinding.
That's your podcast as well, right?
Yeah.
You guys have together. I want to hear that story. Can you tell us the story of why you had to come up the stay shining, stay grinding?
Well, me and Carlos were just brainstorming about it, and we're like, we're always back and forth. We've been wanting to start the podcast for before a year now. Mm-hmm. And I forgot what it was going to be called before. And then one day we're just brainstorming because we're talking about like the hustle, the grind, and, the ups and downs. And then I was like, what better than like when you're down, you got to find the light.
Yeah.
You in the deepest of darkest times, you got to find the light.
Yeah.
Stay shining. Look, no one's going to come brighten up your day. Sometimes it's all mental. Stay shining. Do it for yourself. And then the other thing, you just got to stay grinding. Stay working, stay devoted, and just keep the hustle going. So then one day we're just trying to figure out, stay hustling, stay grinding, we're trying to figure out, and then he was just like, stay shining, stay grinding. And I had my clients come out, I was like, hey, Jose, stay shining, stay grinding. I love it. I love it. And I'm like, oh shit, these guys, he's like, it's so catchy, man. He was like, I'm going to work. I'm like, stay shining, stay grinding. Like, that's awesome. Like when he was telling us that.
Are you going to have a melody? Stay shining, stay grinding. I noticed that on all of them you say that, you know what I'm saying? And that's a message that gets deliberately stuck in my head, like, and it was intentional on your part as well, because it just brands you better.
Yeah. And then what comes from that, then you can have gear, hats, sweaters, jackets, whatever. I mean, it's something that you start to build on a small scale. Like when we started that, we're like, let's just do this for fun, see what happens. Now we got like a like a nice little group of people following us and asking about it and saying, "Where's the next podcast? Hey, bro." I'm like, "Oh shit." Yeah. What started as a like, "Hey, let's just do it for fun," is now becoming something more serious, and people are asking for more. And I'm like, "Oh shit, this is really gonna take off. Like it's really happening."
Right.
And that's the awesome part about just taking action and just documenting it and just doing it.
When you guys posted the first podcast, were you nervous?
Fuck yeah. I'm nervous right now.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
what was your concerns? I'm curious because like we have a podcast.
The same thing that I think we all think is like, am I gonna sound dumb? Am I gonna look dumb? Like, am I gonna say the right thing? Like, just those things are like,
am I gonna look stupid saying something?
Yeah, like, overthinking what to say and, trying to force a right message. I'm like, no, and it just flow it naturally. And then we learn that as we go, Then your second one gets easier, the third one, the fourth one, and so on and so forth. But yeah, the first 3 were like tough. Like my hands were sweaty. I was like, fuck, Carlos, are you sure?
Was your back tired of standing straight like this?
My back was, my shoulders were tight, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck. And he's like, bro, loosen up. I'm like, how? Like, how do you loosen up, I'm fucking like if I really had 1 million people watching me,
So Carlos behind the scenes is part of that Stay Shining, Stay Grinding, guys. Carlos, we want your input. What do you think? Were you nervous when you guys uploaded your first one?
No, I wasn't.
You weren't?
No.
Oh, because you were already here doing it with us.
Well, I was here, and then I've always been okay with being on the camera, and I've always been okay with speaking in front of people, so I've never really had an issue. Yeah, my big ones are the one-on-ones, though. That's what I notice about me is the one-on-ones. Like if I'm talking to one person individually, I start to think a little too much. But if I know there's a crowd or people, I don't really.
Do you get nervous though? No. Mm-mm. My neck just hurts from turning my neck like this, talking, But
I was driving over here because this is the first podcast that I'm involved with that's not ours, right? That I'm a guest in, and I was driving around, I was like, fuck. Like, it was a little nerve-wracking. Yeah. I was like, dang, what are they going to ask? What am I going to say? Like, like, what can I deliver or whatever, But I parked outside, and I just caught a breather, and I was like, just flow with it, dude. Like, just be myself. Just whatever they ask, just spit it out. I don't have to think of anything because all they're asking is what my experiences are.
Exactly.
Like I don't have to be an Andy. Like that's one thing I'll tell people: learn from people, but don't try to be people. Be them, Be yourself. Just like you said earlier, implement it in your own style. And I think that people really find that more valuable than to say, "Damn, he acts just like this guy," or "He acts just like that guy." Like people think that's more annoying, like,
Or if they say, "Oh, you're trying to be like this guy,"
You talk like him, like, what is it, Andrew Tate or whatever? Like, why are you trying to be like this guy? No, dude, be yourself. Like, everyone has some good things you can pull out of, and other people don't, and just use it for what your benefit and your beliefs are.
Yeah,
I think that's genuinity goes a long way. Just be genuine, be honest with yourself, and showcase that.
Yeah. No, that's dope, man. You definitely have a lot to say, and one of the things we want to do here soon probably like in May, like on a Sunday or something, is have a entrepreneur mixer.
Okay. Right on.
And I want to invite like 20 people, 20, 25, whatever we can fit in here, and generally have like a mixer, kind of like how a mastermind is.
Yeah.
And one of the guys so we're going to have like a tax person. We're going to have a real estate,
Okay.
And definitely we'll be doing some of the talking as well. But I definitely want to invite you in to come in and tell your story and motivate.
Yeah.
And just have like-minded people that just want to grow their own business. It's going to be like a mix of industries,
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
I think that is going to benefit the IE, especially because we're all going to be in this area. And we're all going to be, I don't want to say like, we're all going to be the same as far as like incomes, but we're all not driving Lambos, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't want those people here because we can't really relate to them right now. Yeah, it's cool to see that, inspiring, but I want people that are in the trenches still and what can we benefit from? Because you might learn something from another trade that you didn't think of, So that's something we haven't planned. So you're welcome.
That'd be awesome. I'm super open-minded. Like I'm always open to like, like today I learned a couple things today, and I'm sure I'll learn that. I'm not someone that's like, oh, like I'm here. Like I'm here, but I'm here today because of being open-minded and listening. And then, I'm taking mental notes down, and I'll start to implement a couple of things I learned today.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that when we get together or a gathering like that, you'll leave with a lot of value. You're like, damn, I love the way that guy runs his business. Or I love
that's
the way.
That's exactly what we want.
That's even just one thing.
Yeah. It's just like that one thing that could change the perspective, and then you implement it, and then you see like a jump in your business. And you're like, fuck. I didn't want to come to this thing, but I didn't have time or whatever. And then now I'm here, and then, dude, it helped me so much. So the value of bringing people together like that is amazing.
Right. And I think there's not enough of them going on right now, or maybe we're not aware of some that's happening. I've went to maybe one in a coffee shop, but it's gonna be weird to have it at a tattoo studio. But I feel like we have the space for it, and we have screens where if you guys want to show something, like I just think it's gonna be so dope for the entrepreneur. That we got to get it started. So you're one of the ones that I was thinking of asking. So that maybe you give like a 10-minute talk about, how to motivate, because I know there's gonna be a couple people that I know that follow you that would want to like hear your message, even though they're hearing it today. Yeah, right on. So,
I'm up for it. Yeah, I'm down. All right. We could do it more of a recurring thing, because I think the more everyone sees the help that they're getting, they're going to start to say, hey, Ricky, when's the next one?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's going to happen like that, because then we're going to be like, so I took your tip, 2 months ago when we had the first one, and look, this changed, and I thank you. Yeah. And it becomes more of a, like, how dope is that, Yeah. So that's something we want to do, and we're using our platform, to get more people in, and I hope you can be part of it.
I'm up for it. I'm joining.
Yeah,
count me in, guys.
Cool, man. What'd you think? What'd you think about the podcast?
It's great.
Yeah. You still nervous?
I'm hyped up. No.
Yeah, se te pasó.
Yeah.
An hour and a half ago.
Huh? No, it was good, man. Thanks for having me.
We'll definitely have to get you in, like, an update, maybe in a year or something, see where you are, see if you got that Lambo or, No, just kidding.
I got the TRX.
The TRX, andale, But much luck to you, bro, for real. Thank you for bringing a lot of knowledge of your industry. I think no matter what industry we're in, the similarities you talked about, mindset, quality, helping genuinely people. That's all we talk about here. This is what we all talk about here, you know. And it's because we do these podcasts. We don't make no money on this. We actually do it on our day off. But we bring this because we feel that the long-term value of bringing all these guests in, and then our conversations, our experiences will help other people motivate. And somebody comes in and says, I saw podcast number 37 with the landscape being guy, so-and-so, and that conversation you guys had motivated me to start my business. Then we know that this is what we did, So
it's making an impact. And
exactly.
I think one episode at a time, we're changing lives, very important. And then we're persuading people to become more than what they think they could become. You know what I mean? Because some people are just, they need to hear this message, and it's gonna be a wake up call for them, and go out and chase a dream. But I appreciate it. It was nice, man. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
I'm looking forward to coming to that event, and then coming. I'll see you before, because I gotta get tattooed again.
We'll tattoo up. Yeah, we'll get you on the vlog now.
Already? Huh? Do you already have your appointment?
No, I haven't. I just
we'll talk about it after.
But
we'll get you on the blog. We have the other vlog too. Would you ever do a vlog
here?
No, in your business, like a day in the life.
Yeah, I think that's in the works too.
Yeah. I think it'd be so dope, bro. I'd watch it.
We've been,
there's some in your employees. You have 20 of them. There's probably some characters. In there. Especially with TikTok right now, bro. Fuck, it would grow.
And they love the cameras, man.
Do they?
They see Carlos for love, and they start
posing
and shit. They put their sunglasses on. They're like, Carlos.
It's gonna be like that girl from Mama Por Dios that became fucking famous on social media.
Oh, I haven't seen.
That's just dancing. Like, she's the one that carries all those planes, things, and everything.
Oh,
so she became a character. Or?
Yeah, she became a character. Now she's her own influencer, just been doing that.
Shit,
there you go.
Never know. Cool, guys. Well, thank you for watching this episode, and don't forget, share this if you want. If you found value in it, if you know some people that are interested in starting a landscape business, maybe this is the conversation they need to hear.